Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, bots and cons, to Tech Talk, the officially unofficial Transformers TCG podcast. I'm joined, as always, by Scott of VectorSigma.info, and we just got done with our marathon dissection post-mortem on the Press the Advantage ban, as well as talking about the recent PPG results. But we had some other news, Scott, some other exciting stuff that came up in the form of spoilers. Are you ready to dive into these?
Yep.
All right, here we go. So, nope, I don't want to bring up our press stuff again. So, again, as always, these are in roughly alphabetical order. I apologize in advance, although we did get clearer pictures than when we talked about the mercenaries last week, 2 weeks ago, whenever it was recently. Some of these cards made it a little bit challenging to get everything on screen in a legible format. So apologies in advance, but this one is not.
I can guess which one those.
Can you?
Yeah.
I think they might stand out a bit, but so the first one up is Hazardous Shield. This is a Decepticon armor, 1 black pip, and it has Revenge. Scrap an enemy weapon or armor. Now, first thing that I noticed on this is and this is kind of what we expected with, I think there was one other card that granted Revenge or granted an ability that was a little odd that we talked about previously.
Mm-hmm. Bounty.
Yes, it's use a character's Revenge abilities when that character's KO'd. So it's not, the shield itself doesn't have Revenge. So if they pop it with Bashing Shield, you don't get to nuke their armor or weapon.
Yeah, that's what those green ones that did last time.
Right.
Like when they got killed,
exactly. But the reason I'm bringing it up is it's a distinction for this, mm-hmm. that it certainly changes it, because if it was when this died, I feel like this being the shield, it would be better. As it is right now, I guess because it's a Decepticon tagged card. You tell me, Scott, did the Shockwave want a one of this just to have an armor off the top?
No.
I didn't think so, but I don't know where else I want this. Do you have anything for it?
No, not really, but I mean, like, it's because it's hard to imagine a scenario, because we live in a world where so many of, like, the upgrades you usually want to take out are either offensively, you want to take out armor that you're facing off against, or, like, there is, outside of, like, the current bolster Scrapper Gauntlets combo, there's no way to take out weapons, like, in the middle of a combat, like, when you'd want to, and a lot of weapons scrap themselves after seeing play, so, like,
mm-hmm.
I can see a scenario in sideboards where this might see play, like in defensive matchups.
That's actually why I was... Oh, sorry. That's actually why I was calling out the fact that it grants Revenge to the character, because if this... It isn't great, but it could have potentially interacted with Bashing Shield and screwed with somebody's sequencing. You know, they play the weapon ahead of time on the assumption that, oh, well, I'll just Bashing Shield the armor that if you play one, if not, I'll do something else, I guess. That still isn't a great scenario, but regardless, that's not even an option then, if it got popped by Bashing Shield, to eat their weapon. I don't know. I think the art's cool, but I'm not expecting I'm going to be sleeving this guy up. At least not constructed.
Has Bug Bomb ever seen play?
No. I take that back. It has. Whether it should have is another question.
Right. So that's the issue. It's like an effect like that.
Yeah. So we'll move on from there. We'll move on to Reprocess, which was actually something that was from earlier today. So it's green pip. That's it. It's an action, scrap an upgrade from any character, repair 2 damage from that character. So we have a ramming speed that you could eat your own stuff to heal. And since it's green, we were just talking about consistency not long ago. I anticipate we're more likely to see this, but do you think we're even going to see it at all, Scott?
Potentially.
It definitely has some options, at least, I think. Green pip aside... Well, the green pip is very important. I guess I kind of want to start there, to be honest.
Yeah, that's the part that matters. Mm-hmm. So you have like a more than... I hate playing ramming speed and vaporize. So like some more consistent version of those.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it has no on-color pip, I'm fine with that. What I like about it is if the character using it all like on your opponent's characters is undamaged, there's no downside to it.
Yep.
The other thing though is I can't imagine the scenarios where you're going to use it on your own character, other than if you were going to like. There has to be a better.
It's the Ratchet deck, Scott. Come on.
No,
I know.
Like, I mean, I guess it works if you're replacing something else. Like if you're replacing a weapon or an armor, it's a medic. So like, I mean, it's a really
Yes.
bad turn. But I mean, like,
I mean,
there's a reason for it. I mean, I guess like it's safe. There's no safeguard too, but it's close. Like, you know, like if you can find a way to heal one more, you're all the way back up to safeguard and things like that. So
if it's a
if you play the armor thing that gives you safeguard and this in the same turn, man, now you're back up to full heal.
Oh, thank God. Meta solved. Everybody can go home now. I mean, yes, outside of those scenarios, I mean, if we get another card that triggers off of healing, great. Maybe. Otherwise, I think the fact that it's a fetchable ramming speed for wheel turns in aggressive decks kind of thing. So they play an armor. I'm going to be able to get in multiple attacks. I'll go fetch it because they probably played it on their big guy that I couldn't get at anyway. So I'm not healing anything. And then try and push a little bit more damage. I agree with you. I'm struggling to see the scenarios where I'm going to end up targeting my own stuff.
Yeah, like if you're attacking a guy that has spark twice, you're probably ahead of the deal because it might only prevent 2 the first time, so you're even there.
Mm-hmm.
Assuming they had damage on them, you're even there. But the second time, then you're ahead.
Exactly.
So like it's gonna be +2 at that point.
Yep.
Essentially, that you would. So yeah, I can definitely. That's in wider decks. I can definitely. This is gonna see.
Yeah.
For sure. And I think it's probably going to be just a ubiquitous one of those decks as it is. I think it's just a more skill-intensive card, and I think once you find options to use it on your own guys' value, it's going to be...
Right. Yeah, I'd agree with you there. I think that'll do it for reprocess, though, unless you had any other thoughts.
No, I think it's solid.
Yeah.
It's well-balanced for what it does.
Then we'll move on to Stable Cover. This is a Black Pip secret action. You reveal it when one of your characters defends. When revealed, that character gets +1 defense until the end of the battle, and the attacker can't use Pierce.
I forgot this card exists. So.
I think that kind of says it all. What's the utility that reduces Pierce from Siege?
It's an armor. It's an armor.
It's an armor. It's not a utility.
No, it's point defensive.
Okay, because I was going to say like this serves, I guess, potentially that role. I don't know if it does since it's an armor. Maybe this has a little bit more use since they could, pop the armor with something and then get in. I don't know.
I don't know where this will see play. Even because
yeah, I got nothing for this. I mean,
RC doesn't like this card.
No, she does not. That's actually kind of funny. RC is pretty popular, so I mean, in general, we did mention it on a different topic, but the health pools are growing in general.
Yeah,
which is an issue for Pierce in general because you want to pair Pierce with your low attack guys, so that seems like a better way to address the Pierce problem than sleeving this up. Just play guys with bigger health.
Or just if you really fear it, just play systems, which I think will have more use.
We'll go with that. So we'll move on. Now, probably more exciting for you, Scott, is Step Forward, the Blue Pip Autobot secret action. So you reveal it after your opponent chooses an attacker and before they choose a defender. One of your Autobots gets Brave until the end of battle. This card seems really strong to me. Am I wrong on that front?
No, this is very strong.
The card seems like a better hiding spot, like kind of simply.
Oh yeah, agreed, totally. Because I mean, first of all, your opponent's attacking multiple times. They have to attack that character.
Yep.
Like, so it's. I mean, in that way, I guess it's similar to hiding spot, but I mean, like, you're 100% forcing where the attack goes to.
Absolutely.
Okay, like if you have 3 tap guys, you're like, okay, well, that guy or that guy.
Now
I
it's
can't
not
attack the one I actually wanted to.
right.
I can attack this other one.
Now it's not strictly better because in the scenario where you have to give Brave to somebody so they have multiple attackers, you have to give Brave to somebody that's going to die to one attack. Now you're exposing your other character that you wanted to protect where hiding spot would have protected them. But the fact that this has a blue pip and not a black one, I really just like this better than hiding spot.
Yes, and like the Autobot, this might do with other things, but the Autobot Battlemaster saw Decepticon ones did, so this helps that situation.
Yep.
There are certain scenarios where you wanted your Autobots to actually take the damage. Your Decepticon mixed decks, like even if the Autobot was the main character, they just had a better chance of surviving due to the fact that they're optimists in some way, shape, or
well, among other things that are no longer relevant. Also, there were other reasons.
Right, exactly. Or it was Hot Rod or somebody that just had built-in defensive stats to begin with, and you wanted to keep Decepticons alive as a result of it. Like, this was just better in those situations, and because it has the blue pip, it's even better. I can see a situation where, because, for example, Shockwave decks I build usually Shockwave flanked by 2 Autobots randomly. It just happens to work out that way.
Right.
And this would definitely go in there.
Yeah, because he only cares about it being a secret action.
Right. So, I mean, even outside of pure Autobot decks, I think this is extremely powerful.
Yeah, this seems, I don't want to say warping, but it's influencing, I guess, is the step back from that, but still powerful.
Yeah, agreed.
It's man, the tools for blue stuff seem to be piling up based on Siege 2. Let's put it that way.
Agreed.
So that actually closes out the battle cards from the set of reveals. Since we got through so many early on, it was so front loaded. We are closing in on a complete spoiler set.
But I think we actually need more battle cards last week.
We need what?
I think we actually need battle cards to be revealed at this point.
It's pretty close. I mean, both numbers are getting pretty low at this stage.
I think after today, there's only 2 more characters, 6 or 7.
I'd have to double check because I didn't calculate everything. So
I saw somebody say that.
Okay, we'll take the word of the internet for now.
Yep.
For now. So moving into characters, we have Raider Apeface, who was kind of someone that we expected to show up because he's shown up on 3 other cards already, at least in the artwork. So he is also a triple changer. And again, like I said, I was trying out some new formatting for displaying him. So we got the other 2 modes rotating. In Alt Mode 1, he is a ranged plane. He's 10 stars, 5/14/1, and while this is undamaged, he has Focus 1. If you go into Mode 2, we have our first Beast mode. He's melee, 5/14/1, and while this has 1 to 9 damage counters, he has Bold 2. Now, if you go into Bot mode, he is ranged again, 5/14/1, and while he has 10 or more damage counters, he has Tough 3. So this seems to tie back into the idea of playing a mixed pip deck. All of those abilities, either the Focus lets you dig for what you want, or the other ones reward you for having blue or orange, respectively. But this seems like a lot of effort. If you're trying to go between different modes, you probably only want one of them, and then your opponent may turn it off. I don't know. Are you excited to try out Apeface?
No.
Yeah, I mean, maybe if there's some wild beast support card, but right now it's oof. it seems tough for this guy right now.
Yeah, I mean, this is a trouble changer in the mode of the Wave 2 ones, where they typically want to be hanging out in one mode most often. So
I
it's
really thought you were going to say they're just bad, but
no.
I really thought you were going to say that for a second.
No. So there's like no point to them being triple changers because you just want to be hanging out in the one mode so often. The other modes don't even matter.
Yeah, and I don't know.
And with no flip abilities, like I'm not a fan.
I mean, obviously the beast mode is going to be the easiest one to. I'm looking at him as a super expensive barrage, kind of, and I'm not.
Yep.
That doesn't make me. I'm not excited about it. Unfortunately, I don't think it's Ape Face's time, so I think we can move on from him, unless you have any other last second thoughts about this guy.
I don't know that the tough mode is going to actually survive any longer, and then I don't know how that's going to play out. It's pretty much the issue. And
yeah, I mean, tough 3 is a lot, but if you're so you'd have 4 health left,
right,
to get that active,
and he can't wear an energy pack, which is.
And if they play reprocess, they could take him out of it and kill him.
There you go.
That's the ball game, folks. All right, we'll move on from him.
Oh yeah, that's a good That's a point though. Like it's like Astro Train. Like if you disable whatever mode they're in, they can't just get into one that might be better.
Yeah,
they're just done. Yeah, I mean that's even worse.
I mean, with Astro Train, I feel I think it's his first mode where it's if you have one armor or one equipment upgrade, you get extra armor.
Yeah.
And you could then, okay, well, I have a weapon and I played an armor, or I have a utility and an armor, or whatever. You could have some redundancy. Here, it's based on the damage. So,
and the mode. And the mode.
Yeah. So
because you actually have to be in that, like you don't just automatically switch the mode.
Yeah, it's awkward.
It's much worse. Yeah.
I mean, I guess this guy will be fine for limited, maybe.
Yeah, he's fine. He's still a giant dude.
Yeah, he's giant, and all of those abilities, because you're naturally not going to have an all-orange, well, you're probably not going to have an all-orange sealed deck. It's going to reward you for, or provide more consistency. It's not really a reward. That's not the right word to use. So it gives you a little bit of extra so that you can go find the things that are actually relevant.
In limited, the tough 3 when you.
Mm-hmm.
But you're right. You could just randomly get out of that mode if there's like some universal heal or something like that.
That would be really awkward and be a very unfortunate way to lose the game. But
yeah.
All right, we'll move on. I think that's enough for Ape Face. We'll move on to Raider Caliburst, who actually I think I messed up and we missed him last week.
Maybe. I don't know.
So he
might have been a Friday.
It's possible. I'm going to say I missed him. I'll take blame for that one. But anyway, so Caliburst is our Decepticon ranged battle master. He's 6 stars, 381. When your opponent draws a card, if they've already drawn a card this turn, your opponent chooses one of their characters and does 1 damage to it.
Oh, wait, no. We talked about it.
Did we talk about
Shockwave.
him?
Yeah, because we did the Shockwave.
Well, I know we talked about it offline, but I had that moment as I was putting all the notes together. I'm like, wait, did we actually talk about him?
Yeah, we did.
Okay. Sorry, everybody. Then we'll skip Caliburst. we won't do it over again because, there's that weird Shockwave thing.
He's good.
So we'll move on to Raider Chop Shop, who is, I think he was alongside Reprocess today.
Yep.
And by that, I mean a couple hours ago. So we have yet another reissued Decepticon, or Insecticon, rather. He is melee in both modes, 411-1 for 7 stars. When you flip to alt mode, you may scrap a green card from your hand. If you do, repair 1 damage from each of your characters. If the scrap card has no other battle icons, repair 1 more damage from each of your characters. And then over in bot mode, he's 511-1, and when this attacks and you flip at least a green, repair 1 damage from him. I guess, medics for your team are exciting?
I mean, his bot mode is atrocious.
Yes.
So
You would be correct.
so I mean, like you only want to be flipping this guy back and forth. So like as long as you can, and to be honest with you, this is something that I want to bring up with other characters later. But like I had, we can bring it up now. Like there's a lot of stuff in this set that really helps your flip density. So this might not be as hard to do as it seems.
Getting just a single green, you mean?
No, keep flipping back to alt mode to get the actual that you want.
Oh, I misheard you. I really thought you said pip density, and that's why I was very confused for a second.
No, flip density.
Yeah, flip, not pip. I think it might have cut out for a moment, or I'm just getting tired and I misheard you. So I agree with you there. There are a lot of things that give you that opportunity. I don't necessarily know if a lot of them want this guy. I don't know.
I mean, healing 2 team is not a bad thing. So I mean,
certainly not. But it's in order to do that. I mean, obviously, you go get the single green card, whatever it happens to be, and we've gotten some new ones in this set. You wouldn't be playing it alongside any Enigmas. I'm trying to think of other single green pip cards that weren't the recent reveals. The one we talked about today, or Pocket Processor.
Sonic Scramble.
You're not selling me on this. You're not. I'm sure somebody out there watching or listening to this is screaming at their screen right now for whatever we can't think of. But
there's the other Repair one that was terrible also.
Yes. So we'll. Okay. I mean, to be fair, you're playing quote unquote 3 cards in a turn, one of which just happens to be heal 2 from your team. I don't know. I'm not super excited about this version of Chop Shop, but maybe I just have it in my head that Insecticons are orange. I don't know.
I mean, this is another situation where, like, again, maybe in Safeguard, I just think he's probably too expensive for what it is.
I would agree. The stat line is not. If you had 2 defense in both modes, maybe. I don't know.
That's fair.
But I don't think I'm getting real revved up to play Chop Shop. At least not this one.
I would agree.
So we'll move on from Chop.
Good and limited again.
Yeah, he'll probably be fine there. Move on from there to Jetfire. Captain Jetfire, in fact.
Already? Jeez.
Yeah, we're getting there. I mean, the other one... What?
We could have saved this guy for last.
We could. If you want me to skip around, we can. I just put him in alphabetical order, so...
I don't care.
We're finishing with Sound Blaster. Does that make you happy or sad, Scott?
It's okay.
Fine. Yeah. So we'll do. I mean, to be fair, there's only one after this. There's only one that's probably not going to be exciting to talk about. But
yeah.
So Captain Jetfire is a leader. He's a plane. He's ranged. Well, he's a leader and ranged in bot mode. He is 16 stars for those of you that can't squint on there and see what that says. He's a 5/22 as in 20 health, 2 defense in alt mode. When you flip to alt mode, you reveal the top 5 cards of your deck and put all upgrades from among them into your hand, scrap the rest. In bot mode, he's a 6/20 health, 2 defense, and when this battles, draw a card, then you may reveal an upgrade from your hand and put it on top of your deck. If you do, flip 1 more battle card this battle. So he gets pseudo bold tough.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't literally say bold or tough, as in, if something disabled those, it gets around it.
It's better than that.
Well, yes, because you have an influence on what's there, among other reasons.
And you get an extra card.
Right. There are a lot of there are a lot of things to like about this guy. I feel like we're going to add a lot of ands on there. But he is, to be fair, 16 stars. That's a pretty steep cost. Is that putting you off this guy?
Not in the least.
I mean, the stat block is insane. This goes back to what we were saying earlier, that the health pools are just growing. That's why it's great and all that we're getting a lot of these Pierce cards, but okay, you pierced for 3. Congratulations. Like, it's going to take you 1,000 turns to get through my team. Go ahead.
How many more battle cards does this guy need printed on him as text?
That's a very good point. Because right now it's 3. We got treasure hunt. Well, a better treasure hunt.
It's more than that. It's more. It's like 4.
Well, I guess it depends on whether you're counting the flip extra as independent battle cards, I guess. Is that where you're going with it, Scott?
No.
Oh, God, I'm losing him.
No, I'm here.
Okay, you got really far away for a second.
Yeah, I know, because I took it out.
Okay, I got you.
Let's just call that combat training, so we don't call it the bold 1 and tough 1 utilities. We'll just call it combat training to add an extra.
Yes, because I only remember the names of one of those things. So go.
Yes.
No, I remember both. Never mind. Okay, go ahead. Keep going.
So you have data pad,
Mm-hmm.
security console.
Yep. Combat training,
and better versions of all those. Although not as a little bit limiting, but that can easily be fixed by deck construction.
So
and easily fixed by the fact that you flip and treasure on for 5.
Well, this was one of the things when we were speaking earlier about. I totally lost what the hell I was going to say. I'm getting tired, but you're right. This guy has a lot of battle cards built into him, and one of the characters that leaps to mind when we're talking about having battle cards built in is Wave 1 Wheeljack. And yes, this is going to take a minute to get where I'm going with it. I get they are going to be different things, but the point is one of the advantages or one of the ways to look at Wave 1 Wheeljack is that he gets 2 weapon slots, quote unquote.
Mm-hmm.
This is the same sort of thing.
Or he gets a supercharge.
Yeah, whichever way you want to look at it. You're getting free cards, and you start with them in play because clearly you're going to build your deck in a way that causes you to trigger it. And to your point a moment ago, Scott, you build your deck to ensure that this thing is going off all the time and that you're doing the thing all the time. So this is another card that feels like there's way too many things going on it for it to not be good.
The worst case scenario is you draw a card every single time this guy comes.
And I get the feeling he's going to be in a lot of combats just because he's got 20 health.
And you flip the treasure hunt for 5.
How much health does Galaxy Prime have?
21.
21? Okay, I thought it was 21, but...
So your absolute worst case scenario is, without flipping, you draw a card every single combat and that does not count the having bold or tough or putting 1 card on top. So we're saying, for some odd reason, you have all actions in your hand after you do any of these abilities. So all he's doing is drawing a card every single combat, and so that part can't ever be taken off the cards, and the flip to treasure hunt for 5 can't ever really be taken off either. So that's worst case scenario. Best case is obviously like you get bold and tough every single combat, and you get to battlefield like you get to, we'll just use the actual upgrades, you get to data pad and security console every single combat.
It seems okay. Seems okay.
I mean, I'm sure there's like I don't know, like going from 13 stars to 14 stars, you can see a power curve increase with, Battlefield Legend to Shockwave, for example. Like some people say there isn't one, but I think there is. You can see going from 14 to 15, the Galaxy Prime is very powerful.
Right.
I mean, going from 15 to 16 is
you're saying you're getting your money's worth?
Yeah, I mean, it's similar to, there were articles way back years ago in Magic where they would explain that, like, as you went up the mana curve, the card had to be exponentially more powerful because you had to have the land drops to play it. And other games we played were similar. As you went up the resource curve, the cards had to be more powerful because you had to invest, for lack of a better term, more resources into playing them.
Yeah.
And this is the same exact way. Like, I mean,
Well, it's a
As
little
long-
different because of the way that, I mean, I get the analogy, but it's a little different because it's not hitting those resource drops as opposed to, configuring your team. But it is still it's a cost you must pay to get this guy included.
As long as you can make a 3-character deck, I don't care how much a guy costs.
They're
honestly, I feel like at this point you could go up to 17, and as long as you can make a 3-wide deck, it's fine. But once you start to hit 18 and 19, you can't play 3-wide, then it becomes an issue.
right.
So, I mean, I'm gonna play this guy. This guy's. I can't believe this guy's not a superhero. I honestly cannot believe this guy's not a superhero.
I mean, I know the power level is not correlated with rarity, or at least not strictly correlated with rarity. But yeah, I could easily see this guy being one of the super rares.
I mean, this guy's awesome.
I really want
just flat awesome.
Yeah. Do you have the card in front of you, Scott, or can you picture the artwork right now?
Yeah, it looks more like the Veritech.
I'm not gonna lie. When I first saw this card, the alt mode, the first thing that came to mind was the Space Winnebago from Spaceballs.
Fair.
I really I want to have somebody draw that on one for me because I'm a terrible artist. So I don't know. I'm buying enough boxes that I'm gonna go out on a limb and assume I'm gonna get this guy. I anticipate I will probably be playing a lot of this guy at some point.
I've seen the Siege art before, and I'm surprised that it got so far away from the cartoon. Has an actual face art that it returned back to the legal problems that Hasbro had years ago with this character.
Yeah, that's. I don't know what's happened. I remember probably
they didn't win.
No, but I thought there was something else that happened recently that I heard on a podcast explaining why this is a thing again. But I don't remember what the hell it was. So,
yeah, I mean, I think it looks cool. It's just not one I remember.
Oh yeah, I'll be honest. I never cared about Jetfire in the old cartoon, and he was just there in the War for and Fall of Cybertron games. But at least he got a brief spotlight because they did play off of the idea of him and Starscream being colleagues in those games. So.
Yeah, I mean, I assume he'll be extremely popular and powerful story because this is an extremely popular card because he's a whatever class toy, really. The big ones, right?
Well, he's not a Titan like the size of Metroplex or something, but yeah, I'm pretty sure he's a leader. I saw one in a Walmart the other day, and I didn't see it again when I went back in. Maybe I should have got him. I don't know.
And he was like $50 or something.
Yeah, that's the reason why I didn't pick him up at the time. I mean, look, I got a lot of toys on my desk right now, but they got to draw the line somewhere. But anyway, I really like Jetfire. There's a lot of positive things to say about him, I think. The obvious downside being, or potential downside being the 16 stars. We'll see if that matters. I'm going to say right now that I don't care, but...
I don't care in the least.
Yeah. So we'll move on from Jetfire to another one that was a challenge to try and squeeze on the screen. Was Omega Supreme the one you were predicting earlier, Scott?
That one and the other one, that's right.
Yeah. So this is I'm going to try and ramble or get through these quickly. So we have Omega Supreme in tank. He's 7 stars, 392. When this attacks, you may scrap 2 cards from your hand. If you do 1 damage to an enemy. And all of them have, when your opponent reshuffles your deck...
No, they don't. The base doesn't.
Oh, they don't? Okay. So I stand corrected. I haven't gotten to the base yet. On the tank, when your opponent reshuffles their deck, if you have Omega Supreme Spaceship and Omega Supreme Base on the battlefield or in your KO area, combine them with this into Captain Omega Supreme. Do you want me to just go through the other ones, or do you want to talk about this thing first, Scott?
No, we have to go through all.
Okay. Well, I didn't know if you wanted to talk about it it's a 7-cost tank. Do we care? Sort of thing.
None of them are playable.
Yeah, I would agree there. So there's the conversation. Done.
Yes.
Omega Supreme Spaceship. Clearly, it's a spaceship. It's ranged. It is also 7 stars. 412-0. When this attacks, you may scrap 2 cards from your hand. If you do, scrap an enemy upgrade. This does have the when your opponent reshuffles, if you have the tank or the base on the field or battlefield or in your KO, combine.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have the third one, which is the base. It's a specialist. It's a 0-12-1, and also just a zoomed out picture of the other ones.
Yes.
I'm not really sure what else they could do, but it is kind of funny. So when this defends, do 2 damage to the attacker, and your opponent scraps the top 2 cards of their deck. This is 8 stars. It does notably not have the clause about combining, like you were saying. And then finally, what do we get to? Captain Omega Supreme. He's a leader, melee, and ranged. He's a 7-33-3 with Pierce 4. He's 12 stars. When this attacks... excuse me, 22. I'm looking at it like, wait a minute, that makes no sense. 22 stars. When this attacks, you may scrap 4 cards from your hand. If you do, scrap all the defender's upgrades, then do 1 damage to each enemy. I'm tired of saying all that stuff. Scott, take it away.
He's extremely difficult to evaluate.
You don't say.
It's notable. Like all 3 of them are rare. They're all like normal size characters.
Mm. It's going to be annoying to try and get them, but I guess everybody did it with the Dinobots previously, so we'll get over it.
So what I like about it is, I mean, you started as a 3-character deck, and you eventually get to a 1-character, similar to Combiners, but it's more similar, I guess, to Dreadwing, the other 5 Combiners, just from a number perspective. But it may play out more like the regular Combiner teams because the individual parts in this situation have abilities.
Yeah.
And you don't need an Enigma, thank God, because you have to pitch 2 cards to use these abilities. So, if we assume it's a defensive deck because it's a character deck ultimately, or you don't want the damage to carry over, then the tank's going to have decent survivability with 2 defense built in. I like the pitch card ability, although it's a little
the plasma
costly.
Burst, I assume.
No, it's only 1 damage, so it's less than that. But
yeah,
like Work Overtime obviously has to be in this deck. You
Clearly.
get 3 star cards for this deck, which obviously I like using the new one, like where the Autobot Rogue Resolve gets the
the one that keeps him at 1 health.
Yeah.
That seems like it might be okay here.
I find it interesting that he actually like combines the attack of all the parts and the defense of all the parts, so that you literally are combining.
Yeah, the defense is. I mean, 3 is a lot. The Pierce. If we talk about the combined mode, what was that?
Yeah, it's so random.
That's exactly what I was going to say. None of the other parts have it. I don't understand it. I think the melee range thing is actually cool because now you can play hovercrafts and slingshots if you really wanted to, but
it's going to take too long, I think. But yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't know if you're closing the game out. Clearly, the parts are not closing the game out. I don't know if you're closing the game out quickly enough with the combined mode where you wouldn't need those if the deck slots allow for it. Like you were talking about this earlier, but you only have 40 deck slots. I don't know if you can put 3 Energon slingshots in here, but having more cards that say do damage out of combat is going to be important when you're combining into one giant dude. And
he says on him, untap him when you come.
This begins untapped with all the damage, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, the usual combiner clause.
So, I mean, at some point you're going to be getting that's also important to understand. Like,
yes.
But that's really important because the 5 Y combiner teams, that never happens outside of like whatever the weird bolster situations, I guess.
Well, yeah.
So, and only Dreadwing actually got extra attacks out of the D.
For now, but yes, we'll get to that later.
The ones in this set get free attacks included, so that's important to understand. the base is interesting. It's one of the only ways you can actually deal damage on your opponent's turn. It's going to obviously limit the amount of like. It's literally going to limit who can actually attack it. There's going to reach a point where they can't attack him anymore, and I actually wish the Giant Omega Supreme carried that ability.
Yeah, I'm surprised. Well, I guess I shouldn't be surprised. Now that I've said those words, I kind of want to take them back because that feels like it would be ridiculous.
But balanced, in my opinion, by the fact that, like, so this has the same clause as Lord Megatron, i.e., difficult for your opponent to empty their deck. I mean, clearly this is supposed to be played with system reboot.
System reboot, heat of battle, that sort of thing.
Right. So, but especially system reboot because the deck itself is so pitch cards out of your hand intensive.
Absolutely.
You definitely want to be doing that. So we'll assume those cards are in this deck. I still think it's going to be difficult
to get it by the free attack.
It's going to be difficult to get it at a time where you have control over when you want to combine, and it's going to be massively advantageous because you have super control over what happens.
Right. Like you said earlier, we're missing more battle cards than characters at this point, given that we now have Omega Supreme available and we have Lord Megatron already revealed. I'd like to believe there's one more mill your opponent card somewhere out there, but maybe there's not. I could see this also being one of those, they stretch it out over multiple sets. You know, even though the next set wouldn't necessarily be Siege themed, it could be, okay, well, here's the backwards compatible supplement.
Yeah, the key is, like, if you miss an attack with one of the parts, you're just improving your attack. Like if you don't attack with, I don't know, not the tank, the other one, the spaceship, for example. You're just improving the spaceship's attack 3 or
yes,
and like that's not going to be as good as like I get a free attack, or if like it happens on the wheel, it's not going to be as good.
It's not as good, but it's still. The jump from 3 attack to 7 attack is still good. You know, presumably there's going to be the spaceship has 4 attacks. So going from 4 to 7, like 7 is where it really, you really start to stand up and pay attention because now, okay, I'm a weapon away from doing double digits before you even talk about adding something else. So,
but the point is you don't want to lose an attack.
I agree.
So I just don't know. I need to see again, like you said, the support and how difficult it is to actually make that happen. If you have a lot of control over that, and I don't mean through system reboot because you're still going to lose an attack because that happens before attacking. If it's with heat of battle, that's fine. Which I think will obviously also be in the deck.
Of course.
But if it's not, or like if you can arrange it to attack into tough guys or something like that, it's fine.
I get the suspicion that it's going to be, again, barring this hypothetical additional support, I think you're really going to be combining, quote unquote, traditionally, as in you're not going to get that free attack. And then the times where you get that free attack, it's going to be a blowout. Whether that's good enough, I guess, obviously that's the question to, say the silly thing, but.
I think you need to be able to do that in order to make this guy playable. I don't know. I need to see it play out, but like, these are difficult conditions to combine, so.
Yeah. Although it is I guess the old combiners were an inevitability too, because, they had green enigmas, so. Unless they were shredding your hand like early on Wave 2 meta with Sentinels and demolishing, preventing you from ever seeing an Enigma, you're going to combine. Your opponent will reshuffle at some point. I highly doubt people are going to be playing Battle of Wits style things with like 60 card decks to avoid it. So that's part of the reason why I'm thinking that the free attack is going to be an afterthought. Clearly, this was designed that, okay, you're going to get there eventually. Excuse me.
It's interesting that you get 3-star cards. And to me, like, combiner parts in any way, shape, or form are always going to be worse than their equivalent star normal characters anyway.
You'd expect them to be, yeah.
So I don't even care. Like to me, the star cards are almost free. Because there's no 3-cost character, so what choice do you have anyway? So like whatever the cost of this was is kind of irrelevant to me. They could have made it 887. To me, it's just getting 3 free star cards is definitely obviously going to realize this.
Mm-hmm.
But it may really help it if it works out that way.
Yeah. And it'll be interesting to see if star cards then become a thing, because they've obviously shown up in various places, but now that you could hypothetically play a playset of them in a quote-unquote normal deck, it's a different take, and I'm curious about where that lands.
Yep, agreed.
So, any other thoughts for Omega Supreme?
I think he's very difficult to assess without actually physical or either.
Yeah, this is going to be weird.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie, this is going to be weird.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll move on from Omega to Private Sea Watch. So we got our first boat. He is the remaining member of the Rescue Patrol. He's a boat. He's a specialist, and he is 5 stars. He's a 3/8/0, the usual stealth while untapped. When one of your rescue patrols battles and you flip at least 2 white pips, flip 3 more battle cards. And then in bot mode, he's a 3/8/1, and he has the Lord ability where it's +1 attack, +1 defense for each KO'd rescue patrol that you have. I'll be honest, I am just excited because we have a boat and it's hilarious. Every boat transformer is funny to me, so I'm already happy about this guy.
You flip 7 when you have 2 whites, right? Total?
I believe so. So the first one's going to put you up to 4 cards. Then you get 3 more. 2 of which are white. So you have 5 hypothetical whatever pips.
No, more of them are going to.
What?
Obviously, more of them are going to. Like, because that's the way you have to build the deck in order to make it mathematically work out. So, in all likelihood. So, I would say best case scenario for a one-sided deck, you're going to be looking at +4, which is obviously it's tough math.
Come on, Scott. This is what you're here for. You're supposed to do this stuff off the top of your head.
He wasn't good enough for me to run the simulations. I thought, maybe he is.
That's just mean.
Who are the other rescue patrol guys? How many of them, trucks?
Yeah, so you have their Micromaster abilities are basically irrelevant. You got System Reboot, Rapid Conversion, and...
I don't care.
Yeah, it matters if one of them does something really unique, but I don't think any of them do.
Yeah, the swap parts guys does something really unique because it's a band card.
Yeah. They're all gonna. I should have double checked, but I'm pretty sure they're all. They're not gonna be more than 3 attack. So.
And none of them are ranged.
I will say sure because the ones I'm picturing are trucks. So
the car might be ranged.
But even then, I mean, if they're ranged, okay, you get the ranged package. Those are blue pips. Are they, with these low attacks, are you thinking that they can still sustain? I feel like they would still have to be orange, and then if you're mixed pip plus you're running enough white pips to guarantee you hit the double on this guy, it feels like the deck is all over the place.
My excitement over Micromasters died with Bounty. So, I mean, I don't know what else to say.
Yeah. So. I think this guy looks cool. But, yeah, I'm not... I don't know if this is Sea-Watch's time to shine unless the other 2 characters are also boats and we get some busted tribal boat cards.
I mean, the Lord ability is I guess, equal to the plain one, which I thought was the best one. I mean, this is good also, but I just don't know how synergistic.
I don't know if it's. I
team
get
is
where
not
you're going
from a tribal perspective.
Oh yeah,
so.
I get where you're going. That it's close to the plain one, but I like the plain one more because you could. I don't think you have to go to as many lengths to get it to trigger.
Sure.
Like, I mean, yes, you need double whites. That needed a green, so clearly you need more cards, but I think you'd be happier including all those other greens that we've proven are strong as opposed to having to reach for. I mean, I could name a few white pip cards, but not too many off the top of my head that it's going to want.
Oh, there's more now. I mean, like
there are more.
The +3.
That was the one I was thinking of. Yeah, the head-on collision.
Yeah, and acute reflexes. So there's definitely more playable whites. Don't get me wrong, but at the same time, the alt mode tribes on these guys are just so inconsistent that it just makes it difficult to build a good deck. So
sorry, boat man.
2 trucks, a car, and a boat. Like, it's weird.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure we'll get a boat tribal in the near future, and it'll be fun when that happens. But for now, I'm hold off on this guy and the rescue patrol. I mean, like you said, the Lord ability in general and the way this guy's and all of them are set up makes it interesting somewhat at the very least, so it's worth looking at, but I don't know if it's doing anything that the other ones can't.
I think the 3-wide rescue patrol and an 11 drop is a better place for this guy.
I could see that. That makes sense.
Because you're like the downside of that is not the +1/+1 that you're losing, it's the attack that you're losing. And if your 11 drop is obviously General Optimus, it's going to help you proc the ability, and so in all likelihood you're going to be going up the amount of attack that you would have been gaining anyway. So that might be a decent place for this.
Yeah.
But again, I don't know there's no tribal synergy there other than I think you get 2 trucks, 3 trucks if you count Optimus, so it could be.
So your battering rams and team up tactics have a home now, I guess.
No, it's the driver, it's called.
Oh, that thing. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it's all about that card. The other things are
yeah, I was making a joke about the other ones. I wasn't actually serious about including those. Like I said, I want to try out the patrols. We'll see if this one does it or not. And I guess we'll go from there. I guess does it matter? So if you do that with Optimus, it's a leap if he's in alt mode. But I don't think you'd ever want to do that. I mean, I'm sure there's some fringe scenario.
It's the +1 point.
What was that?
It's the bold one, tough one that gets you the more.
No, I agree. I'm just thinking of other, because he's also a truck. So that's why I was like, oh, well, I guess there's some fringe scenario case where you'll want to attack in alt mode, I guess, because it's a mostly orange deck. He has 3 defense. You pump him. I don't know. I'm just making stuff up.
No.
So
he always wants to attack him.
Well, yes. I was trying to think of weird fringe case stuff. Excuse me. So I think that'll close it up for Private Sea Watch. We'll move on to Raider Skytread, who is another oddball one that made it difficult to try and fit everything on here. So we have our new pseudo Dreadwing. So we have our 6-star ranged plane, Skytread Plane, aptly named. He's 4/10/0, and his revenge ability is if you have Skytread Tank on the battlefield or in your KO area, you may combine this with him into Raider Skytread. If you do, put the cards from your hand face down under Raider Skytread. So our tank half is a 3/8/3 for 6 stars with basically the same revenge. If he dies and the other guy's if he's around, you put the cards and combine into Skytread. The combined mode is 12 stars. He's a 6/18/3, and when this attacks, you may put a face down card from under this into your hand if you do move 1 damage counter from this to the defender. So you get a bombing run every time you attack if there are cards under him. It gives you a lot of stars to play with, since he's only taken up 12 initially as compared to the 16 with Dreadwing. This guy is certainly interesting, I'll say that.
Mm-hmm. He's good.
You like this guy, Scott?
Yes.
Can you tell us anything else about it?
He only costs 12 stars.
Yes.
Just huge. The best part of Dreadwing, as we talked about, was that you got an extra attack. So you basically started the game at some point having a ready for action.
Right.
I just, if for some reason you didn't combine, is it a must?
If you have the other guy on the field, you may combine.
Okay, so if for some reason you chose not to combine, and the second one dies, does he combine and then
just die?
He's dead.
That's what as I was reading it, I had that go through my head, and I'm like,
or does he have one more hit? Does he have one more hit?
No, it's 8 and 10. So and he has 18 health total. So I guess hypothetically, if we get something down the line that increases your entire team's health by 1 or something like that.
Okay.
Otherwise, I think he just comes back in and immediately croaks.
But then is I still functionable as
the combiner?
Yes.
Correct. Yeah, they don't. I believe I'm like 99% sure they don't fall apart when they get KO'd.
They don't. Okay, so there's that. I was just curious how that works.
Mm.
You don't want to be doing that, but I'm just curious how it works.
I guess, yeah.
So what I like about this character is you're going from a 3 or 4 deck into a 2 or 3 wide and getting a free attack out of it at very high stat line.
Right.
Likely, let's assume the plane is dead.
So you have 8 health left.
Right. So you get, don't think of it as a 12 cost 6/8 because you got to do it. Because as long as the combiner parts absorb the tax, then you're ahead of the deal. Because it's really difficult to explain, but this 6, I'll just say X3 is what you care about. And so however many attacks it takes to kill that character is what matters. And if that is at least now going to be more than 3, because it took you 2 to kill one of the parts, and then at least 2 to kill the combined form, that's pretty good for a 12-star character. To absorb 4 hits or more. So, that's where I really like it, because it doesn't really matter to me that he keeps the hit. It doesn't. Obviously, if it was a 6/18/3 for 12, obviously,
yeah.
So, the way to think about it is it's basically going to be that. You just have to think of it that way. It's going to take a certain number of hits to kill either one of the parts, and if it takes 2, you should be well ahead of the deal. And then you combine, get an extra attack, assuming you attack with both parts already. You're ahead of the deal. You're getting an extra attack at some point. You're keeping all the upgrades, so you're getting double use out of the upgrades, assuming they weren't grenade launchers and stuff like that.
Right.
The other, and again, I asked this, and it'll probably be addressed in a rules round, but I assume the upgrades on the KO part are technically KO'd before you combine. So it would only be the parts that are only the upgrades that are left over on the un-KO'd part.
I get what you're saying. That would make sense.
Right. So if we assume the plane dies, it's whatever's on the tank goes over to the the bombing run thing is weird because you don't like you lose your hand basically, and you don't start drawing cards again until he attacks. So like one of them at least is right away. But like technically, like, if this happens on your opponent's turn, like you're down the cards. Like you'll get your draw phase, but that's all you can play for the turn. So you're drawing the cards like later, which I mean, obviously it makes over.
Yeah, work overtime is going to be funny.
Yeah, and it's not an irrelevant ability. I mean, when you're doing the damage, like that should happen. I don't look at it as like a downside because there is an upside. You're basically just making every card in your hand have suspend do a damage. Does that make sense?
I tried playing a lot of Dreadwing, and yes, it clearly matters losing your hand, but there are ways to work around it. There are more ways now, and this guy will give you the cards back somewhat, so I don't think it's going to be as punishing as it may appear. There's no way to piece these guys.
Yeah, there is.
Well, but is it... So you get in with the tank, you get in with the plane, you piece, then you get in with this guy / your other third partner.
Or however many you have.
What was that?
However many you have. Like whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So that's a reasonable... I was trying to figure out, are you costing yourself attacks in that scenario, but I think you're going to be fine.
No, the key here is you need to have the parts survive. Like the part you attack with first can't be one shot.
Right.
So as long as that's happening, you're ahead. And in my opinion, way ahead. I guess the other bad thing that could happen is you attack with a tank, they attack back into the tank, do some amount of damage to it. It doesn't matter how much it is.
Mm.
You attack with a plane, they one-shot the plane. Technically, the combined form is losing the 10 from the plane and
the damage,
however much damage they did in the first attack on the tank.
Yeah.
So, like, which isn't going to be much, let's be honest. Like, especially if you're going first, it's not going to be much. And if they go all out to not even kill the tank, like on their neck, like if you go second, your opponent will have a full turn to a tank, or whichever one. Like you might not even do it at that point, but presumably, I don't think it's going to be that bad. Like I don't think it's going to be still be difficult. One shot the tank, like in period, in my opinion.
Maybe
again, assuming you're.
It's going to depend on the matchup, obviously, but if you're blue, then it's what 13 health. So it's 8-3, and then you assume 2 blues.
Yeah, but if you go second, you get a play. Don't forget. So
right, but they also probably punched your plane to put a little bit of damage there, so the calculation gets weirder. It may still be fine, but it's well,
then you just swing it. Well, no, then you lose the attack.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, then you end up potentially just having the plane die. So it gets weird. Like you said, starting the game with a ready for action is incredibly powerful. It's just apparently you got to work kind of hard for it.
No, you don't. I mean, like you just have to. If this guy if this guy takes forever to combine, you're way ahead. Your guys aren't dying. I mean, like
Right, but the problem is if it's actually the other scenario that you combine too early because those guys just got crushed, and now he's vulnerable.
I just think that's going to be hard. It's going to be not. It might be.
I mean, it's one of those things that 13 is a good amount of damage. Don't get me wrong. Like that's your opponent has to put in some effort, but that's also not an insurmountable amount of damage. They could do that with 2 cards and virtually any character.
But you get a play at them.
Right.
So,
I mean, I think it's again, this is one of the ones that I guess compared to some of the other characters that we talked about, like the Jetfires of the world, where I'm like, yep, I'm definitely playing this guy. This one is one I'm interested in. I just don't know exactly what this looks like yet.
The partners for Dreadwing were atrocious.
Yeah, you have a much wider array for this guy.
Not atrocious. These are not atrocious partners.
Yeah, 12 stars gives you a lot of room.
And a lot of powerful.
Yes, that is true. Stefan's in chat. What was that?
What do you said?
Oh, Stefan was asking about the new green data bank with this guy. I mean, you could, but the problem is doing it early means all those cards are under him, so I guess
it just means it lasts longer, effectively.
Yeah, but I don't think you're going to be getting a lot of value. Like, the ability's fine. It's still good, but it's not the value there just because you're going to need to close the game out shortly thereafter. I don't think you're like healing this guy to full off of his ability. You know what I mean? Because you can only do one card each time. It's not like you can have 5 cards under there and then just, disintegrate somebody.
No. Yeah, it's slow burn, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
It's the fact that the partners for this guy are insane.
Yes.
I mean, he doesn't have to be he won't quote unquote be the focal point of the deck, and you still get a 13 drop or a 7 and a 5 and a star or 7 and a 6. Get just insanity.
Yeah, you can do
stars left over for this.
Exactly. Yeah, I definitely agree with you there. Where Dreadwing kept coming up short because he was kind of on an island. Skytread will bring friends with him, and they can be pretty big.
I mean, how often in a 3-wide control deck do the other characters do anything other than support 13 or 12?
Yeah. I mean, the goal is often trying to get extracting any value from them, either bigger they are or, whatever, so that they do something. Yeah, this guy's going to turn... he's going to grow up and be somebody.
Right. So, now all of a sudden you're getting something out of the deal. That's what I really like about it.
Yeah.
This is very powerful and unique to me.
Yeah, that was one of the ways I was imagining him when he was first revealed, is that, okay, yeah, you're 2 nonsense guys that normally would do nothing now do something of value at least once, even if it ends up, they soak a bunch of damage and then, okay, I get one quote unquote free attack, or even if it's just one regular attack with them, it's a relevant attack.
It's so interesting to me that the deck, the other character or characters, they just flip all day long. But this guy doesn't have to flip at all. It's insane.
Yeah.
It's interesting to me.
Yeah, there are a lot of options to open up that flip density, like you were saying earlier now.
Yeah.
And it's not just Battle Masters. Anything else you want to bring up for Skytread before we move into our last reveal?
Do you know anything about this character, and why isn't he
Why isn't he what?
Overlord?
Well, I mean, Overlord, I'm sure they're going to have more fanfare for. I know for a fact I have this guy somewhere in one of my DTOFs, although I was very excited to find my G1 tote.
I heard he was like a headmaster or something.
That sounds right, but he was definitely a duocon. I had the 2 parts, but I don't know much about him as a character, unfortunately.
Okay.
As who the hell he is or what his personality is like or anything like that. So I guess we can move on from Skytread, and we are going to close out with Sound Blaster, who
the hell's this guy?
Well, this guy, we talked about this guy. I gave you the crash course on this guy. If you head on over to TF Wiki.
Well, I did, and it still didn't have the articles weren't very big. I mean, there was.
He doesn't show up a whole lot. I mean, this guy's actually in Reach. He kind of showed up as quote unquote electrostatic Soundwave in animated, or at least there was a toy. So the animated series had Soundwave with Laserbeak as an electric guitar. So this version, even though he's still technically Soundwave in that, he comes with a Rat Bat as a keytar.
Well, animated's terrible.
I never actually watched it. Everybody who watched it that I know of swears by it. Like, it's the greatest thing ever. I don't know. There's a lot of people also that say Beast Wars is great, and I just can't get into it. If you like Beast Wars, more power to you. But I've tried many times. It's just not my thing.
So this guy's like a Soundwave clone or something like that, I read.
Yeah, in a couple different continuities, he's a clone. In other ones, he's a rebuilt Soundwave kind of thing. So
yeah, like you said, like Goldlug.
That's what I'm thinking. I didn't see those series where that happens, so I'm assuming it's like Goldbug or like in the movie, Soundwave got his ass kicked somewhere, and then they rebuilt him as Sound Blaster, I'm guessing, or something like that. But anyway, for the actual card itself, we have a 12-star Spaceship Specialist. Shocker there. He's 5/16/2 in alt mode, and when you flip to alt mode, you may move a weapon from this character to one of your other characters. If you do, that character gets +1 attack until end of turn. In bot mode, he's still Specialist, 6/16/1. When this attacks, you may play a Black Pip weapon from your scrap pile onto this. And that ability seems crazy until you think about the Black Pip weapons we have.
I mean, it's free value, so I mean, like,
yes.
he has a new designs built into him, and like our
right
blade is clearly the best option.
Of course, at least right now. Again, I'm hoping that that's not the only option we're gonna have, because it's very, very thin after that.
Because it's not Combat Dagger.
Yes.
So, and it's not the flamethrower. It's black.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that card.
So, I mean, you can go crazy and build your deck around Disruptor Blade and hope to keep it in play, and then to move the Art Disruptor Blade to somebody else.
Mm. I don't know if you even have to go to that length. I mean, just you free it up, and then if you can find a way to make use of that other upgrade play for the turn, like you said, the new designs effect. That are you advancing anything else? To be honest, I don't know what that other thing would be right now, but
Arbor Utility, obviously.
Well, I'm gonna assume that is the case. Yes, but I mean, you could, I guess, play a different weapon on a different guy and save you a play, but then you're only saving a play to play an armor utility the next turn. So,
well, I mean, like putting acute reflex on this guy and then having a few other pips that don't hurt you and you help the Art Disruptor stay around so that he can flip later to move the Art Disruptor Blade to somebody else.
Mm.
Because in my opinion, if you're putting like, and again, I'm just saying that his ability is hard. Can't imagine something else. If it falls off because you didn't flip black, then what does his ability actually do? Unless you are planning on not flipping another character next turn anyway, and you just play the weapon on him to start with, flip him to basically give somebody +1 to end the turn, which is basically what it does, because you just then move the.
Moving a Battle Master or something, if you can manage to make that happen.
Then you. But the problem is, how could that happen if you
exactly
the black weapon? So that's why That's why it's so. You need the Art Blade to stay around and to move it, or like I said, like you just assume his flip to alt mode gives you +1 defense and gives them +1 attack. There's no downside to it. It's just not super exciting. You're just giving a guy +1 attack.
Well, I think guaranteeing that this guy always, air quotes, always is 9 attack. You have a full play set of Disruptor Blades.
Yep.
Always 9 attack, and then, okay, my next weapon, my weapon play next turn on my other guy is +1. That seems good enough, hypothetically.
Assuming that guy doesn't have to flip. Assuming no one else has. Yeah, agreed.
Because I could certainly see, you play arbitrary battle master, whatever, and then fill out the stars with another guy that's mostly fine attacking in alt mode or, only flips once and that's it. He has 16 health, so hopefully he can pull this off somehow.
You can't play a battle master that's a weapon. Only play a battle master that's a
right. You can play sights, for example.
Right. That's it.
I mean, if you played one that was a weapon, it just gets complicated because you then don't get the benefit. It is a May recurring the Disruptor Blade. You don't have to get the Disruptor Blade to overwrite the Battle Master if you don't want to.
Yeah, then his ability's not as good.
Well, of course, but you got to do what you got to do sometimes. Obviously, you'd rather have it work some other way, but short of, you can't run Skytread, so you're running low on options that don't require flips outside of Battle Masters.
Not necessarily. I mean,
there are other characters, but we'll have to see who can slot in alongside this guy.
You can run Skytread. You still have Star left.
I guess you could.
There's no reason not.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I don't know why. We just went through him, and for some reason in my head, I was like, oh, he's 14.
No.
He's 12. I don't know. I think he looks cool. I kind of want to try this just because the idea of recurring the weapons, I'm assuming we're going to see one more that's worthwhile outside the Disruptor Blade. Maybe not this set, unfortunately. We'll have to see when that does make an appearance.
Yeah, I mean, I can certainly see playing just Disruptor as it stands right now.
Mm-hmm.
I can certainly see playing just Disruptor Blade, Steady Shot, and whatever that secret action that, like, whenever they drew extra cards, I was black. I'm trying to think of, like, other ubiquitous black cards that you just that didn't really hurt you that much.
Mm.
Like, so if you were to run, like, let's just say, like, randomly 8 black cards don't hurt much.
Mm-hmm.
Like a metal, I guess like a metal or something like that. Also, so 2 random cards and then play sets of Steady Shot and ours are like it's really going to come down to. I feel like the cycles where you're actually able to attack with him, and get a free Disruptor Blade, and then move that Disruptor Blade to a second character, and even if it's just a grenade launcher at that point, you should be well.
He says just a grenade launcher.
I mean that's the point though. Like,
yeah, no, you're absolutely right.
That's where you're way ahead. So, the question is, what happens when that doesn't happen and you just, like you said, are attacking for 9? Like, is that better than things that other decks could be doing? I don't know.
I feel like it's close. A 9 attacker. I mean, the problem is that you can't. It's not a true 9. It's not he's starting with 9. You can add a weapon. So then is 6 enough at 12 stars? I guess that's maybe pushing it, but you should have that 9 every time. I don't know. That feels really close to me, but I could be wrong.
You can build your deck with dramatically less weapons if this actually works.
Mm.
Because anytime it would get destroyed, you would just start the cycle over again.
Yep.
So, like, I'm not saying you would only play 3 Disruptor Blades, but like I can think of a world where this would always happen, or you would supplement it with like Crowbar.
Scott, let's not get crazy.
Let's
not get wild.
Crowbar wouldn't work. Like, I can certainly see scenarios where this is going to work.
Yes.
And at that point, where it's not going to hurt you very much, and then you're basically getting 2 new designs through a cycle. Like that's the equivalent of getting N+1. each time. So like you're
Yep.
getting a lot of free battle cards, like simulated battle cards out of
It's
the deal.
the weird thing to me with this. I'm still mulling this over in my head. Is that so? It's specifically recurring Black Pip weapons. Obviously, the Disruptor Blade is the primary one right now, pending anything else. It might be the only thing because you're really stretching it for the other ones. If you're playing this in an orange shell, those Black Pips probably mean nothing in general. Like those other ones that we're doing to try and supplement the Disruptor Blade play. If you're playing this in a blue shell, the whole point was to put grenade launcher on, a quote unquote make your own grenade launcher, and then therefore even your tiny guys, the Black Pips mean nothing because they should be high enough to have gotten there whatever the pierce value was anyway if you're flipping them. So it feels a little weird in that respect.
No, I mean it's all about getting the new designs and letting the other upgrades you supplement.
Well, I agree. Where I'm going with it is that it feels less synergistic, the pip relationship to everything else, because you're so all in on the new designs. It feels a little clunky there as compared to other builds where it's all of that flows together more. But
you're not though, as long as the other cards you're playing. I mean, if you look at the Disruptor Blade as blank, as long as the other cards you're playing aren't have use and aren't just like more blanks, like steady shots and things. I think you're fine.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's going to be bad as a result. It was just an observation of it. It's going to come down to, like we were saying, the other weapons and what partners this guy's going to have at 12 stars, like we were just talking about with Skytread. You do have a variety of options, but it's not two bodies at the start. It's all in on this guy for the big chunk of your team.
I guess so. The only thing I don't like about him is he's a specialist, obviously.
Well, yes, but we can't have everything, Scott. They can't all be ranged.
Well, I mean, I know why he is. Like, there's the combo implications with this guy as well. I just don't think it's going to work. But
yeah, there are. It's worth bringing up just because it's there, potentially moving things around. But
yeah, but I'm not good at those things. So
I don't like it as much on this guy because if you had to flip mid-chain of any of these potential combos, it gets awkward. Just because you may have to drop it to then move something to then try and get it going again.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still out there, so maybe it could still work. You have room to play the swap parts guy with this and, maybe something else. So it's not impossible.
No. I think...
Oh, God.
I think this... I still think Jetfire should have been the super rare, and he should have been rare. That's neither here nor there.
Yeah, looking at these two, that is a little weird, but I guess it's a quote-unquote sound wave, so super rare sound blaster. I don't know.
I don't like the fact that he's a spaceship because I don't think UFO does anything in a normal outside combo deck, so...
Yes. I mean, yeah, you can UFO to do the thing, but yeah, it's not that exciting.
Yeah. Boy.
When you know
I mean, yeah, you're not really doing much. You're giving guy +1 attack, basically.
Right. That for your action play for the turn, that's a little underwhelming. I'm gonna.
Right.
Yeah. Maybe we'll get another spaceship tribal card because we got a couple more still hanging out there that we'll see in the coming weeks. But we are getting pretty close with completing this spoiler. And I'm anxious to see what the remainder of the set is because there are definitely some very interesting concepts in this. And given the other news that we talked about on the first half of this episode, there's a lot of things going on, a lot of excitement leading into the Invitational on a ton of different fronts. So,
yeah, I mean, I was gonna talk about. I mean, and I'll talk about this again when we just do like some episode on just like an overall set recap. But like, I feel like I want to have an interview with like Drew and company sooner rather than later, which shouldn't be a problem. Because there's so many unique characters in this set that just have so unique that it's like they have like abilities on their own. There's just so many different options with this set that it's almost like should have put some of this stuff in Siege 1. I mean, like,
Yeah, it does feel very dense.
Siege 1 seems almost like straightforward, even though we had Battle Masters and I guess.
But those were the concepts that they provided. It's okay. Well, it's different ways to attack or change your combat, and yes, a lot of these. I mean, we're looking at a character that's okay, move weapons around, so clearly combat based, but he also has a sort of regrowth attached. We have characters with many more slots than they normally do, or they interact with other parts of the game that we haven't seen since Nemesis Prime, or, I'm definitely in agreement with you there that there's so many different wild concepts that have potential that it's tough to just, okay, well, I'll test this thing and that gives me information that I could then judge this other thing by, because they do such, ridiculously different things.
Yeah, I mean, they're all. I mean, you look at these combiners; their decks on. Obviously, Omega Supreme's a deck on himself. This combiner, you still have 13 stars to play with, and he's a combiner himself.
Yeah.
Almost every single character today that we spent a tremendous amount of time talking about are deck centerpieces, and it's rare in a set to get this many.
Yeah.
Deck center. Like, it's like you said, like, double armor guy, you obviously have to put your deck around him. Double weapon guy, you obviously have to put your deck around him. Battle Masters. There's just so many different things in this set that it's pretty unreal to me. How I'm really impressed that there's so many niches to the set, and that doesn't even count the fact here's mercenaries with the bounty ability. Here's
every time you turn around, it's like, oh yeah, there were these things. Oh yeah, there's this one more thing. Oh yeah, there's this other thing, and then the list keeps growing to the point where it's easier to count the characters that aren't new centerpieces or aren't turning the world upside down.
Yeah, I can't even who's the most vanilla character in this? I can't even
Face. I guess no, Chop Chop. We'll go.
No, even he healed. Even he for a lot.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the list we have. I'd have to go back. I mean, we had that
even in the whole set. There's hard.
I'm going back because I think it was the second one. What about Dazzle Strike?
It's still a Battle Master that come into playability.
You're not wrong. I'm quickly sifting through some of the lists. I mean, I'm sure there are some, and I mean, some of them are clearly less exciting than others. The various Micromasters have suddenly a way different flavor since we saw Mercenaries.
Exactly.
The fact that now Press is going to be gone means that a lot of these Decepticons that maybe we were on the fence or completely wrote off have new life breathed into them. A lot of things have changed and are changing.
There's just so many unique cards. It's just like I just can't. I don't know. A month is not going to be enough time to evaluate this. I can tell you that.
Yeah, there will be surprises, I think, is the best and safest way to put it.
Yeah, it's really exciting.
Well, that does it for the reveals for this week, Scott. Anything else you wanted to add at the end before we close up shop?
No, if you're listening live, we have our charity on Saturday. So hopefully anybody listening live knows about it and is coming if you're in the area, or can tell people that are in the area to buy. So hopefully we'll see some people there. Other than that, we do have some exciting things planned as a team for the Energon Invitational. So I solidified a location for a get-together after the tournament Sunday, which will be which will have be partially open to the public. So I'll just throw that out there. If you're listening to this, likely you'll be invited. If you're going to be there, just let us know. We'll release more.
Yeah, more details to come as we get closer.
Yeah, it's an exciting time. There's a lot going on.
There's a lot of work to be done. I got to. I thought I had a lot of stuff, and there's a lot more stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I keep thinking that like just overstating because I like playing with new toys. Like, no pun intended.
Yeah, I got you.
But I just that's not how I see this, because I just think that like compared to other sets, like this is just a lot less straightforward than other sets were. I mean, this is similar to like, in terms
similar to what you were breaking up a bit there, Scott.
To Rise of the Combiners, like testing out only like but combiners were only a piece of it. Like, imagine there was like 5 other things you needed, like that were the centerpiece of that as well. Like the regular characters were still just regular characters, whereas like not that the case in this. So
yeah, maybe it'll get simpler as we dive further into it, and the picture is becoming clearer since we're completing the spoiler. But I'm in agreement with you that, especially with this last batch of characters that we discussed today, a lot of things got thrown for a loop. And it's going to make the preparation process that much more complex. I don't want to say arduous, because that is a negative context to it, but it's definitely going to be more involved.
Yeah.
So, well, I think that'll do it for this episode. As Scott was saying, definitely if you're in the area and you're listening live, because otherwise it won't matter to you, check out the charity event. Otherwise, check out Cameron over at Arbitrary Hero for his charity stuff, or check out other charities if that is your prerogative, because it's always good to try and donate when you can. There's a lot of good causes that need help, so definitely check it out. But for us, thank you for listening, thank you for watching, and please tune in next time for more Tech Talk.
Dan here from VectorSigma.info. We wanted to take this moment to thank all of our patrons for believing in the service we're providing. If you're not yet a member of the Patreon, feel free to click on the link for other podcasts like this one, or verse videos, or any of the other great content that we provide on our YouTube channel. Thanks, guys.